Welcome to The Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy. Welcome, everybody.
We're a gaming podcast.
Yes, we are.
And we've eclipsed 50 episodes.
This is episode 51. Wow.
Resetting the energy, resetting the cadence. Evening Gamer is here to stay.
Here to stay. It's nice to see you, Taylor. It's been a moment.
Lovely to see you too.
It's been
good to be back.
2 weeks since we last saw each other.
At the recording desk of your favourite fortnightly podcast. There's a bit of alliteration for you.
Okay.
Remember how I said that I wasn't speaking very well the other week? Been working on it.
You're hitting it tonight.
Been working on it.
We've had some write-ins on the back of the competition we ran for episode 50, and we did want to sort of share some of them back with you. Obviously, Iron Cowboy has sent in his review for Death Stranding.
I think you're doing it on purpose now. I think he's doing it on purpose. Write in and tell me if you think he's doing it on purpose, because I think he is. Yes, he did. He wrote in. We asked for his numbers out of 10 for that game. I'll give them to you in a moment. I did want to unpack one thing that he said in his email, which was he didn't want to overstep. And I find that hilarious because we thought that just creating a gaming podcast off the back of nothing and talking about everyone's favorite games and just pushing our opinion out there, just unwarranted at first.
Unsolicited.
Like that's not overstepping.
Well, I think most people who've heard us from the start have heard our resumes in gaming.
That is true.
You know, but I appreciate his respect of not wishing to overstep.
Oh yeah.
But step away.
Yeah,
step
away, man.
Knock it out of the park.
Step over, strap on, strap. What do you always say? Strap in, strap on, get in there.
We're stepping away from the evening gay bar.
That made no reference.
You said strap on. And we also said we were going to try and swear less, which I think is a really fucking good idea.
Okay.
I couldn't help myself. Anyway,
you're lucky you make me laugh because, I mean, you got a pretty good strike rate.
Yeah, it'd just be silence.
That echo chamber.
You could hang me out to dry.
I could.
Okay, so what did he say? He wrote in and he gave his review. And do you want to go through it and we'll quickly add it on?
Let's do it because I did read his initial. Look, I won't read the whole email, but I did read the initial review.
Yes.
Long story short, guys. Storyline for Andrew and myself. I agree with every rating here. 8.5. Feel mechanics 9 out of 10. Character development and build 9.5. Challenge and entertainment 8, and loot and extras 8. Look, it's on the generous side, but I think that, as I said in the previous episode, this was a game with its own fresh idea. There were some bold risks taken. They paid off. I agree with them, and that comes in at 8.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
How good?
And he registered the fact that it can be an acquired taste that then could lead to a swing of 0.5 either way, which I appreciated that as well.
100%. It's one of those games where everyone would probably recognize it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just either for you or it's not.
Yeah, and looking at where it drops in, I think that it is amongst friends, of a similar caliber.
Spider-Man 2, Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is above it. I'm just gonna preface that. Ghost of Tsushima is above it, but it's around Alan Wake 2 in terms of rating it at 8.6. So
it's so locked in my brain that it's Ghost of Tsushima. And when you say Tsushima, it throws me off. But
we were both saying
we did talk about it. So I don't know. I can't remember who's right and wrong.
There's a cutscene in the game where the guy says, because you're quite a high-ranking dude in that game, and he mentions how you're kind of like almost like the Prince of Tsushima. And from that moment onwards, I was just saying Tsushima, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
The way they pronounce their pronunciation of things like that. It's very Japanese.
I mean, who am I to question them on their pronunciation of their country?
Great game.
Phenomenal game. I cannot wait
for
Yoti.
Yoti? I don't know, bro.
Oh my God.
It's like a prerequisite that we get it wrong the first time.
It is. And we also had a write-in from our good friend Ben, who was the winner. And I got to say, if we were, what's the term for it? If we were sponsored, if we had some fucking, company throwing some dosh at us, I would have loved to have given out money to the top 3, so all 3 of them were very deserving, and we did find it rather difficult to land on one. But Ben did say that when he was listening to the episode, we tried to give it a bit of time just so you could listen to the episode.
Anticipation,
because you'd hate to win it and then you get an email saying you won and you haven't even listened to the pod yet.
Nah.
But he listened.
You got to be clenching the entire podcast.
Yeah,
episode.
exactly. And he said he was getting super hyped at work. He was really appreciative. It was a cool thing to be a part of, which we're great to hear. That's really nice, And I love picturing some dude out there in the corporate world who's just sitting at his desk going let's go.
It's kind of like as well when you hear third, you're like, okay, I'm not third. But then you celebrate that you're not second. You know when it's that, when you're waiting and you're like, okay, don't be second, which is such a weird thing to do in a competition.
Yeah,
and then second's announced and it's not you. And you're like, yeah. It's kind of like the hottest 100 countdown.
Oh, true,
when you voted on what should be one and you know there's like 3 songs left and then 2 comes out and you're like celebrating it's not your song.
Yeah,
even though you've won nothing yet.
So Nathaniel would have been sitting there going like, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
like,
that prick.
came second. But honestly, yeah, I would have loved to have dropped some dosh for all of you, but we're not made of money over here.
No, but I'm making some changes to the website. I have a full-time job as well, guys. I will get the leaderboard up there. Your review will be there. We have some ideas of where we want to take it, so look out for some emails from us.
Yeah, we're still working on it. I feel like we should put a line in the sand and go on. We're not going to talk about what we're going to do for the pod. You'll see it when it's done.
That's it.
You're here for the game reviews, and we've got 2 for you today. I'm going to do a very quick wrap a fucking bow. I feel like I'm swearing more now that
you're just conscious of it. You've only sworn twice. I've got the counter going.
Okay, yeah, keep a tally.
Plus, if you keep it below 10, I can edit that. But
Okay,
last
all right.
episode, it was just way too many to edit.
You said that, and I listened back. I was like, I don't think we swore that much. There was a lot at the start, but then we kind of, when we got into the reviews, we lessened it.
Of course we weren't. They weren't our words. Of course we weren't swearing. No, we were reading emails verbatim.
They do say, people who swear more are more intelligent. So I
don't know about that. I heard that people that swear more are more down to earth. They're more authentic, which I'll take as well. I mean, both the positives, intelligence or authenticity.
I think they've done studies on it. Like they've got a better grasp of the English language of when to nail the swear word in the right timings. Like,
Well, we'll spread our wings. We're trying to spread the wings here.
Spread your wings. I don't like the wings.
So you're only at 2, so you're doing fine.
Okay, all right, keep the tally.
I have something that's come full circle.
Okay.
For a while, we haven't done in a while. I tried trivia. None of you dickheads really engaged with me on the Instagram trivia, but I've got a question from a hat.
Okay.
Today.
Have you got
one? Do you want me to do it? I've got one, man.
You've got one.
Do you want me to do it now?
Do you want to save it for the end?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, save it for the end. I'm excited for this. So what we usually cover off at the start of this, what have we been playing? I've been doing Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon, which is dragging for me, but I'm trying to get my way through it because I want to give it a genuine review because a lot of people have said it is good, it's worth a play. So I'm working my way through that slow and steady. Battlefield 6 just released a trailer. I showed it to T just before we recorded, and it looks fantastic. The environmental destruction in those games has always been of the highest level, like the most fun of being able to shoot a rocket launcher and see a building, a hole appear in it, you're able to then snipe and shoot out of it, has always impressed me.
Yes. But also, I feel like, for me anyway, the enjoyment of COD has always been that all-out war element of it, and we haven't really had that since World at War, which is a game that dropped in like 2009. We're talking pre-Black Ops here for COD, and then we went into the Black Ops stage where it was all very like really secret mission driven, really quiet, really stealth, almost like Splinter Cell-y. And now I think we've come back into, and I know this isn't COD, it's Battlefield, but we're coming back into a first-person shooter era that is kind of all-out war, and that trailer looked good.
It did look really good. And I don't know if there's obviously a bit of mayo on it in the sense of, it's a cinematic, is that going to be real gameplay? But I mean, not most times when the Battlefields drop, they're a laugh. They are fun to play. The clips, that's one of my favorite clips of gaming ever. I think I've sent it to you.
The guy that jumps out, shoots the rocket launcher and jumps back in?
It's not the element of him doing that. Like that's sick. And you often see clips of Battlefield where guys flip their plane upside down, they jump out, they snipe a dude on the building, then jump back in their own jet.
Yeah, but
which is always sick.
To trademark it.
What elevates it is he was one of the first guys to share it, and then he's live streaming himself as they do the gameplay trailer of the new Battlefield, and then they show his clips cinematically, and his reaction is just pure, like just joy.
Priceless.
And like it warms your heart. Like watching it, it's such a cool moment.
No, 100%. But yeah, that. Well, I mean, that's back when if you wanted to record, like new age gamers don't know what we had to go through to record our games.
Yeah, true.
Like before the Xbox One, you had to buy a separate USB that would game capture. And often it would capture everything and you'd have to edit. Like that's what we did to make montages.
Very true. Very true.
The old separate purchased off eBay game capture. So that probably added more sweetness to it, the fact that he had the capture in at the time Like, how often do you kind of do something great and you realize you're not streaming or you didn't record and you're like, oh my God?
Well, yeah, I mean, for a lot of gamers, it's probably the case of, not recording. I've actually started to get back into doing a lot more gameplay recording for the pod, itself. Also, news, Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers has been released. It's come out to sort of what was a very high sales numbers, but unfortunately, due to gameplay issues, lags, stuttering, they've sort of had to apologize and provide like compensation and give out soundtracks and other stuff. So a bit of a stuttering start for that new game.
Which is really disappointing because I think they nailed it in terms of when to release a Souls-like. People, okay, so we had Assassin's Creed, we've had a few other RPGs, there's been a few multiplayer updates this year, GTA got pushed, all the other stuff, and I think they found this beautiful sweet spot this year to be
I think it was a good
here's
timing,
a Souls-like, and to have it flop is just like, that's a massive faux pas. That's a blunder.
Like I don't know, like so much if it's a bona fide flop just yet. Like I think it's one of those games where they release it, everybody hammers it on the review because it's got issues at launch. They patch it, week 1, day 1, whatever, and then in time that result will increase. I think you're right though. The timing of it is good because like at the moment you're sort of looking around at what games are out at the moment, and aside from what was that one, Ready or Not, there's sort of Killing Floor 3, there's a few that have dropped recently, but none of them are sort of of a top AAA that people are genuinely kind of waiting for. No,
you're absolutely right. Like I think the Ubisoft release that shall remain unnamed of Assassin's Creed. You're right, that was AAA. You're right. Yeah, it's plugged right in this gap of
I'm just trying to think of like what was the last game that really captured all the sort of gaming news and audiences, and it was probably Expedition 33.
Or Night Rain.
Yeah, Night Rain.
But Night Rain, we knew we weren't getting a storyline RPG-driven protagonist game. We knew we were getting a multiplayer experience, so...
Which,
you know
I mean, and their post-game work of just like adding new bosses, changing up the formula, duos now being in it,
Mate, like they're unreal, yeah.
If honestly, if it wasn't for doing this for pod, I'd still be probably playing that game. Like it really hooked into me.
There's a number of developers you can rely on. From Software is absolutely one of them.
Well, funnily enough, we're doing a From Software game today.
We are. Now, but there's a difference. There's a difference between releasing a good product and one of your consumers not enjoying that product. There's a difference there. See, From Software released good product. Just because it doesn't resonate with you doesn't mean it wasn't good product. See, like we're talking about
really undermining our whole pod here.
We're talking like Fallen Feathers that had dog release, right? Poor mechanics, maybe a lot of glitches, lots of crashing, this type of stuff, right? Yeah. From Software doesn't have that. Like they've got that down pat.
Right.
When they release something,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
It
does well.
It's the product they intended, and it's the product that was expected.
Yeah, and I mean to be fair, Night Rain had a perfectly fine drop, and there was no issue there. So
100%. Yes, I'm doing Blueprints. You're doing Fires of Rubicon. Shall we?
Rip and
tear.
The fuck in. Okay, I'll go first because we've obviously already talked about Fires of Rubicon a little bit a couple of episodes ago, so I'm going to try and wrap a bow on this real quick. It was recommended by Dondathian. It's a 2023 game. It's a From Software game. It was a revival or sort of a reboot of the sort of mech warrior or whatever fucking genre that was. It hasn't been around for a while. So... storyline, world building. You're a corp grunt dude who's sort of a clone, I think, from memory, and you come into Rubicon and you're sort of sent to get some resources that all these various merc corps are fighting for. From the outset, it's a lot of voiceovers, and a lot of voice just at you of almost like, it reminds me of like StarCraft 2, but instead of it being a face that you're talking to, it's sort of like an icon, of like their sort of shoulder patch, whatever they're representing or their corp unit.
Like emblem. Call sign.
Exactly. Call sign. Yeah. And you're sort of hearing these various voices, but, after a little bit, you're like, okay, was that the guy who works for this joint or the guy who works for that joint? Like, who am I siding with here? And I found it because there was no cutscenes per se between the episodes. I was getting a little bit kind of all over the shop with what's really happening here, or like who am I siding with? And that annoyed me a little bit. So I've marked it down on that regard.
That's fair. I found the same thing.
Yeah. I also marked it down because I didn't like the way it jumped between missions of you get deployed, you do a soiree or whatever the fuck they call it, a saute, a mission. And then at the end of the mission, you're down a mine, like fucking 500 meters below the earth. And next thing you know, you're sucked up to some fucking mothership editing your mech to give it new weapons or whatever. Like that doesn't flow for me. And then the next mission, you're down in the mine again. So what the fuck was that about? How did you get back up there? You teleported? Why didn't you put that in the game?
Agreed. There is a strong correlation between your level of frustration and the amount of F-bombs you drop.
That is very true. That's fair. Okay. I agree on that. Yeah. I'll rein it in.
No, but I think that's something I mentioned when we spoke about this the first time is I hated its transitions between
it's jarring.
missions.
It doesn't make sense.
I even hated the mission briefing. I don't know why. In terms of immersing me in the experience of being in a Mac Warrior suit, it was good.
Yeah.
In terms of rolling out mission critical statements to me, it was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it dense.
Yeah, you're giving me the real aggressive nature of the messaging, but I'm not there. I don't know. It's transitioning and it's cadence was poor.
I mean, again, I don't know if it's my short attention span, but if you're not visually engaging me, then and it's just audio. Like I don't listen to fucking podcast that much, and I don't fucking read, book fucking
That's
audibles
three
or whatever.
Fuckings, come on, man, you got to help me out here. That is 3 F-bombs
we do have an explicit
in 6
marker.
seconds.
We have an explicit sort of asterisk on these pods. Anyway, it also falls into the trap of my hated thing of replaying the game to get the full story.
Yeah.
And I know it's got sort of segmented storylines or pathways of storylines where you can pick this way, you can pick this way. It gives you additional content at the end. Do you pick to go with this corp guy? Do you pick to fight against them or whatever?
Alternate endings, all that type of stuff, yeah.
That annoys me. It's regurgitating the same content that you've just played all over one time just to give you a little bit more, and not only maybe not cutscenes even, just different voiceovers. Like you got to really love this game to want to replay the game through 3 times. Once was enough for me. Like I was fine just Googling going, okay, this is the other 2 alternate endings. See you later. What's next?
Yeah. Now, I won't ask you your scores yet, but have you built into almost that kind of seeing the other perspective side of this? Of like, have you worked into your scores and your reviews here what whoever this game fits might think of these pillars as well?
Well, no, because it's my review. So if you're listening to it and you go, I disagree with you on that, then, fair enough.
I guess you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, write in, disagree with me. You could say it should deserve more, but I've given it a 6 for that pillar.
6 for storyline.
Storyline world building. So, it's a 6. I haven't panned it because there was a story, there was world building. The actual world you're operating on is kind of cool. Could they have done it better? Yes. Should they have done more cutscenes? Yes.
I would agree with that 100%. Yeah. I found myself running around playing the game with no real objective half the time, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So feel the mechanics, here we go. So the movement I found was really clean, really nicely done. It's a From Software. This is their bread and butter. The way the bumpers and the triggers operate, of the triggers, you put weapons on either side trigger of left and right trigger. Then you can put shoulder mounted weapons, alternate them, switch them out. You could do a shield on one hand, a sword on the other. They've got melee in there. The way there's like bubble shields and stuff like that. The variety of build, which I'm obviously is a separate pillar later on, but the feel mechanics and the way that flows with the build, fucking fantastic.
Yeah, agreed.
Sorry about the F-bomb.
No, you're good. Smooth, clean, not janky or clunky. Good use of the entire controller, and when you got good, the flow of combat could be really, really smooth, really nice.
And so the feel and mechanics, like the mechanical side of the game, I've put level design in here. Like, I'm not sure if level design really probably maybe fits here, but I've put it there, and I found the level design, there was good variety in the missions. Like, I didn't find myself feeling like I was really operating or doing the same mission over and over again. Like, there was really good variety there, although that does flow into the loot and extra section, because in some of the levels, you could find additional weapons and armors. only in maybe 2 of the levels they had that. And I just felt while I was playing it, I was like, if this was more open world and there was more exploration and finding new weapons and stuff like that, and they weren't staggered drops as you progress the game, I would really enjoy that more, because then it encourages the searching out and trying to find the nooks and crannies to get a better weapon, a helmet, or this or whatever else it is. So I've marked it very slightly down in that regard. Overall, I've given it a 9 just because the mechanics were such top level.
Yeah, they were pretty smooth. I think that the level design does kind of fit and feel mechanics there, because the way you interact with the environment has a lot to do with how you move in the mech suit. So
yeah, it's got good verticality. You know, like I'd find myself flying around. I didn't find it frustrating if I was sort of up in the air, there on the ground, whoever I was versing.
Yeah.
You know, and just, like the speed in which you're handling the controls, you know, it had that Elden Ring sort of, you got to learn well how to play that game.
And you can't spam. That's the thing.
You can't spam. Like, you know, and I did building and moving to sort of, I'll do character dev and build because we're sort of in there. So it's limited character development in this. You know, obviously there's some pathways, relationships, depending on the choices. But again, it's just voiceover stuff. So it's not like
there's a bit of betrayal as well, from my understanding.
There is a little bit of betrayal. Yeah. So I'm, you know, in that regard, I don't think it's fantastic. But the build variety. This is, and I've played a bunch of mech games over the course of my career of gaming. This one I found myself really enjoying, trying different weapons, trying different builds, trying out tractor legs, fast legs, you know, this body armor, that body armor, this GPU, this shield, this sword, all the various variety, like any From Software game. But because it was a mech one, like I'm much more a sci-fi guy than a sort of fantasy person.
Yeah.
So this really ticked my boxes. Like there's a part of me going, From Software, you've probably mined the dark fantasy to a fair effort now. Thinking about the Dark Souls, the
Demon Souls, the Elden Rings, the Night Reigns.
They've done it a fair bit now, and you could say, yes, you've advanced it, you've developed it. Why not, you know, sort of take it to the sci-fi kind of area, you know, and develop out. If you mash Elden Ring and Fires of Rubicon,
in what way though? Like,
so you basically, if you use the Elden Ring basis of open world, huge level designs, dungeons, this, that, but then just modernize it, you know, and have it via a mech suit, you know, the Fires of Rubicon is so close to that. All you had to do was just basically open world it. You know, and you can go wherever you want. There's a different kind of vibe about it, and you're flying all over a planet or whatever, a giant country. Mate, like, you know, that would be a hell of a game.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think Elden Ring was a little bit left field for them in terms of how open world that was. Like, I think of like Sekiro.
Yeah.
Sekiro is pretty much Fires of Rubicon, but you're a forgotten samurai, essentially.
Yeah. But the level design was a little bit more linear.
Yeah. I also like, from a character dev and build perspective, the level of customization was insane. Not only, and what I mean by that
is... For Fires of Rubicon.
Yeah, for Fires of Rubicon, sorry. And just not only the selection of weapons, but also how you could custom, like you could repaint it. You could do camos. You could,
That
you know
was,
what I mean? Like that was
so much fun.
Completely in your control.
Yeah. And you end up coming up with like what is a pretty sick mech warrior, you know, that's fairly fun to, you know, once you're in tune with how it runs, it's so much fun. So character dev build, I've given an 8.
Nice.
The combat simulation and boss levels I found challenging at times. Like so they've got this and this is one of the extras things, which are these combat simulations where you sort of go 1v1 against some sort of boss that's in the game sometimes and sometimes not.
Yeah.
And it's often in a training environment of like a closed room
or
like a little area.
Yeah.
And like at first I found them rather challenging because you're under leveled, you sort of don't have a build, you're kind of still figuring out the controls. Once you kind of land on a build that fires and works, then I creamed my way through it for like a lot of the way.
I love that as a saying. Creamed my way through it. That is so good on so many different levels.
It really gets
that
the
is a
visual.
Diverse saying. You can use that in so many different contexts. Take it home with you, everyone.
I mean, really, you probably use it in just about 2.
You've been creaming through it here at the Evening Gamer.
We are not.
I said gamer. I don't know what you're talking about.
Iron Cowboys going, fellas, come on.
You're making it easy.
You're telling me to,
Stop giving me layups.
Yeah, come on. So where am I up to? Character dev build. Yes. So combat entertainment.
Yeah, challenge entertainment. Yeah.
So was I entertained playing the game? Of course I was. Was it entertainment because of the story? Not really. They had pretty good set pieces. The level design, as I said, as you got through some of these bosses ones, did have a lot of variety to it, and I enjoyed that. It brought me back. I did want to play it. The story just for me was a little bit lacking at times, so I've given it 8.5 in this pillar.
I would agree with that. I found myself challenged always, but not always entertained.
Yeah.
I think, which is probably where it loses a bit of marks.
Yeah.
Loot and extras.
Loot and extras. So as I said, combat simulation, that was a whole additional kind of stream, obviously not part of the main thing. There was multiplayer, but I never really dived into that. And it really just the limited additional weapons and gear that you could find on the level sort of annoyed me. But overall, the package of what is an additional thing that is provided with this game, and also just the pure mech variety that you could have, I gave it a 7.5 in this area.
Sorry. Yeah, agreed. I would have given it the same. So no notes on that pillar.
The overarching score is 7.75.
And this is the thing, is one of these pillars can weigh your game down. You need to perform in all of them.
You do.
Storyline hurts Fires of Rubicon. That's 6. Because listen to the other scores. 6, 9, 8.5, 8, 7.5. Now, in a game that's rather linear, you would expect a pillar such as loot and extras to not be super high. But it's the storyline that just weighs that down into the 7s.
If I was to really drill in and go, if you'd have just tightened up the storyline a little bit, throw a bit more of a polish on it, cut scenes, so that alone, plus a bit more consciousness of sort of the transition between levels, I think you'd have a fucking grade A game. It'd be up there in the scores.
Would this be a good time to roll out our storytelling and gameplay rating system?
Nah. Let's say that. Because we did say we were going to, the mechanics of what we're doing behind the scenes, we're going to try and stop boring you guys with what we're working on.
7.75.
Yeah.
Fires of Rubicon. Should we have a look at where it goes on the scoreboard?
Yes, please.
7.75, just below Jedi Survivor and Sea of Stars, but above the Ascent. So I would say that based on its community reviews, it's not in the crowd that you'd probably expect in terms of the out of 10 rating for us.
Well, it's interesting because, looking at maybe the Metacritics and the IGNs of all of that, I think it's classic, as we discuss, they roll it all the way, I feel like for them, some pillars then outperform other ones, and they'll basically disregard the fact the story was maybe lacking, but go, the gameplay mechanics were so good, it gets a 9 out of 10. Whereas ours, it draws the average down. Do you know what I mean? So I fully actually agree with where that drops in. That seems right to me in where it sits.
Plus, you can't just look at a game and just give it a number without doing what we do. I feel like it's like a movie. Like when every time me and MJ watch a movie, I've just remembered I've got to read an email out she sent into the Evening Gamer. Oh, she's going to fucking kill me.
Okay.
Whenever we watch a movie and I say, well, out of 10, she'll just kind of throw out a number. And I think probably watching movies with you're a huge movie buff.
Yeah.
I've learned to kind of break it down the way it's the same way we do games. Like I think of how did the music and the soundtracks add up to the scenes?
Yeah.
How was each scene acted?
Yeah.
When the villain was given their time in the sun, was that well done? Like all of these types of things, were storylines wrapped up well?
Yeah.
Was the protagonist well represented? All these types of things, right? You don't just give it a number.
No, yeah, exactly.
And it's the same here. It's like, look at Sekiro, it's an 8.92. So Sekiro is well over a point ahead of Fires of Rubicon, and rightly so. It fucking should be.
Yeah.
It's a much better game.
Yeah.
It's a much better game. So, I don't mind it. I think if you're a mech head, you'd love this.
Yeah, you would. If you're a sci-fi nut,
you'd love it.
The Ascent is actually sort of a game that kind of reminds me a lot about it. But
it's actually crazy. Yeah, the games that it's around are Sea of Stars, Jedi Survivor, and Ascent. All sci-fi kind of games.
Yeah, Sea of Stars, not so much, but sort of that futuristic sci-fi thing for sure. But totally, all four of those games are so different in, even just the camera view, the way they play. They're all very different games.
Yeah, and I think I'm coming to realize that some safe games do well in all pillars. Like Deathloop's in there at an 8.1. It's like a pretty safe game. They kept it first person. It was shooter based. There was a good storyline, good world builds. Everything from memory of that review was around the 8s.
Yeah,
so it wasn't killing it.
Yeah,
but they just did everything pretty well. Whereas like I think Fires of Rubicon took a lot of risks and it doesn't engage a large plethora of gamers. I think they knew who their target audience were. That target audience loves this game and the reviews from that target audience carry it.
Yeah.
I think when someone that maybe likes different from software product like myself, that likes the Elden Rings, that likes the Lies of P, that loves the Sekiro, this game was never going to be at the top of my list.
Yeah.
It's just so far left field and it's different and it's fantastic in its own way, but not the way I've come to love from software games.
Agreed. Shall we move to your write-in that you just referenced there of being annoyed? So,
you're going to read it out verbatim.
Oh, it's right here.
Go for it. Yeah.
So we are yet to review Little Nightmares and Mario Party or Kart as promised. So you've made a promise to this listener and you haven't followed through. With your upcoming 50th episode, I feel like this is a golden opportunity. Episode 50, reviewing Little Nightmares or Mario Party or Kart. Why do I enjoy these games? Well, Little Nightmares is fun to watch. Your partner play as it gets your heart racing. Mario Party and Kart, according to studies, gets the heart racing the most. And just really entertaining to play with friends. I give this a 10 out of 10 for challenge and entertainment. That is MJ, Taylor's partner, who's written in.
She came in, I was playing The Last of Us, and she came in and she was like, have you checked your phone? I was like, in the last 13 seconds, no. And she's like, you should check it. And it took her like 90 seconds to write that email. She's like, am I going to be like in the top 3? And I was like,
we're going to give her $100.
Yeah.
Sorry, MJ. But thanks for writing it, MJ. Love to hear from you. See you soon.
Thanks so much.
I'm not sure Mario Party or Kart will fly very high in the ratings.
Mario Party's a good game. I will get around to reviewing it. There's other games that are more pressing.
Yeah. What was the other one? Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares we should definitely do it.
I was thinking I'll probably get to Little Nightmares 3, play that. I would have played the trilogy, can probably do a very quick review of all 3 of them in the same episode. I'm thinking something like that, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But one more game that is pretty pressing for me and I feel like has been topical is what I'm reviewing today, which is Blueprints.
It has been topical.
And you made me realise the play on words of the title. And I will get to why that's a play on words when I review this game, which is right now. Have you played... Have you played many puzzle games or problem-solving games, anything like that?
I mean, a little bit. Like, and I don't want to steal your thunder on this, but I did obviously play a little bit of Blueprints. And puzzle games, as probably our listeners well and truly know, some of them annoy me, and Blueprints annoyed me to the point of deletion. But anyway, over to you, Taylor, on the review.
That's fair, and I'm keen to hear why. Now, it's important before I start this review to preface that this is a puzzle game. It is straight up puzzle. Every single moment of it is puzzle, solution-driven based. There's no gameplay. It's not horror. You're not going to be running from everything. There's very few time constraints. It is puzzle at its purest. The closest game that I can think of that I've played and I also enjoyed because I like challenges from a puzzle perspective. Like some of my favorite moments in Silent Hill were some of the puzzles. There were a hell of a lot of other great moments, but the puzzles were fun. The closest game I think about this is Turing Test. Have you played Turing Test?
I haven't. I know you have.
Anyone out there that has played Turing Test, that's the level of puzzle. It's room to room, solve constantly. Anyway, into our pillars. Storyline. So you start pretty much as a kid. You rock up to this big house. It looks like a huge house. It's on a massive estate. There's a letter in the front room, essentially from your uncle, and he's telling you that you've inherited this house, but it's not quite like every other house. Your mission is to get to a room which is called room 46. Now, the challenge is that every single time you open a door in this house, you have to draft a particular room in a house. Now, the drafting pool, as they call it in this game, is a lot of different rooms. There's kitchens, there's attics, there's game rooms, there's laboratories, there's
a huge
boiler
variety,
rooms.
yeah.
It's a huge variety. So no run through will be anywhere near similar to the previous one. Essentially, you have to build out the entire house until you can find a way to unlock room 46, which is essentially embedded behind almost like a panic room in which the doors are consistently locked, and you need to find secret locks throughout the drafting pool rooms to unlock that room. That's the game.
Nice.
Now, you're giving me nods. I'm assuming, because like that's all introduced to you in the first 5 hours of playing this, I'm assuming your frustrations probably lie in something I've just said there.
Well, no. Like, my frustrations with it are pretty fucking stupid, to be honest. But like, you know, I started playing it, got the gist of it. Was like, sweet, I'm keen for this, you know. And I thought it'd be a great game to play with the missus, you know, as you both sort of play it through and try and figure out the puzzles, all the rest of it. So we get to the first room, and there's a puzzle thing where they're like a riddle. It's in this box, this, you know, one box. There's 3 boxes. One of the boxes is like a lie. One's telling the truth.
Oh, yeah. It's just those little mini puzzles you get as you go through.
You know, so like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, going like, okay, like play out the puzzle or the rest of it. I'm like, it's got to be 2. It has to be 2. There's no way it's not 2. Open it, it's not 2. And I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
It was 2. You lied to me. My patience waned. And then I did keep playing, but like I kind of got the gist of it. And it didn't grab me, you know, and I was sort of sitting there looking at the missus, and she was sort of going, like the art style as well. Like,
yeah, no, I can get that. It's very cartoony.
But I haven't mentioned this to you. Elijah Wood, who played Frodo in fucking Lord of the Rings,
Wood, yeah.
He got interviewed the other day and said he's been playing it, really enjoying it,
yeah.
and he's been writing in his book, and like, you know, because they do recommend to have a book, sit next to it.
You do need a book to keep track of all your clues and everything that you've uncovered, because there's no, I'll get to that, but there's essentially no kind of storage place for any of that. The storyline, though, is as you make your way through this house, you learn about a little boy called the Red Prince, who, although has strikingly similarities to you, isn't you. And you're essentially kind of figuring out what happened to this boy, what happened to a lot of your very close relatives over the course of generations, because this is a very traditional based kind of game that they play. You inherit the house, you need to figure it out. It's like a coming of age for this family, and it's their way to tell their story to the next generation. So that's all you're given. I'm not going to spoil it because I can't speak to much more of the story without really spoiling it. And honestly, if I was to spoil it, it'd be a shame, because you spend 40 hours doing these puzzles to fucking find it out. Storyline, I gave a 7.3.
Okay.
I think had substance. It was rolled out at a pretty good cadence, but you need to do a lot of gaming. You need to be there for it. And for me, the ending wasn't kind of worth the red. Ooh. But that's just me.
The juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Field mechanics. Look, I mean, this is almost a point and click puzzle game. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. It wasn't janky. It was smooth. The controller felt nice. It flows nicely. You know, you're able to interact with things very clearly. The way you see clues and the way it rolls it out to you, and the differences between rooms in run-throughs was all nice. So I gave field mechanics an 8 out of 10. Challenge. Lots of challenge.
Stupid fucking riddles.
The way they made the run-throughs in this game, because you need different run-throughs. Once you've drafted a room, you can't undraft it. So you need replayability here. You know, almost like an Outer Wilds. There's occasionally in this game where you just end the day because you're like, there's no point continuing to play this. Yeah. I need to do a new run through. But the way they added challenge to that, I really liked.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of every day, you start up the top right with 50 steps. And every time you enter or leave a room, which is the same thing, when you leave a fucking room, you enter another one, you lose a step.
Yeah.
So now, different rooms may give you steps as you enter them. You may find add-ons and resources that also give you steps, food being one of them. But essentially, that was a lot of the challenge, was being like, how do I get to the end room, or maybe go back somewhere for resources while managing the amount of steps I have. And it really, really branches out. Like you start just in the house, and by, your 40th day or your 40th run through, or however long it takes you, you're underground, you're in tombs, you're out on the paddocks.
Yeah, right.
It spreads out vastly, and that adds to the challenge of the
get
game.
the steps in, yeah.
And also the entertainment. The entertainment is actually solely in the discoveries that you have in each room. Like there's a game room there, and in the game room there's kind of one of those drop coin fortune tellers.
Yeah.
And that's a way that it rolls out the storyline to you, is that it will kind of give you this room in your drafting pool every so often, and if you have one coin, you can listen to a fortune from Alizar, the fortune teller. And some of these get creepy, man. Like on your 30th day, Alizar essentially tells you that someone's been basically watching you this entire time. And the way that cutscene is rolled out is just like, I was watching that. This is when I had a week off work, so I was up at like 11 by myself, and obviously I didn't get scared, but it was a nice eerie feeling.
Vibe. Yeah.
Of like, oh man, it's giving me something more than just not solving puzzles. Like it's reminding me that this is all for something, and that the storyline behind it is actually pretty good, albeit at the end. So challenge and entertainment, I give it an 8.7. Character dev and build, I'm brushing over this. It's a non-event in this game, so it's not going to affect the score. Just like that's essentially a void pillar. Loot and extras. Quite a bit. There are permanent unlocks. There are things that you can store in particular rooms that if you draft that room again the next day, you can regather. There's also things like working tables, whereas like if I find a shovel and I don't know, a magnifying glass and something else, can I combine them at the working table to help me find different resources in different rooms, to help me, use a magnifying glass on a really small piece of writing where a clue's been left, like different things like this. So a lot of nice little extra moments. There's also things that like you don't realize, like this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I love this about games. There's like a huge clue right behind where you start.
Oh, right.
Essentially, which you don't figure out how to uncover until much later in the piece. But loot and extras, super enjoyable. The permanent unlocks make every run through a lot more digestible, a lot different. There's also obviously a lot of benefit in having those the permanent unlocks rather. And the extra moments, like I was saying, the fortune telling by Alizar and stuff like that are really nice little additions to the game that make it really different. I had just a lot of fun playing this. So I gave Loot and Extras a 7.8. And that's my review of Blueprints. Are we ready for the ultimate showdown? Out of 10, 7.9. As far as puzzle games go, I think it's really difficult to break into the 8 to 10s as a puzzle game because it can only perform so well in so many pillars.
Yeah.
But all in all, I probably played this, I reckon, for upwards of 30 hours. I did get to the end. The reveal at the end was good. I found it was disappointing. If you finished it, I'd love to hear what you thought. Like any puzzle game, there's a number of puzzles I could go back and do in a second or third run through that I didn't necessarily need to finish it, but I actually may go and do that. So for me to go back and do puzzles that have no bearing on the story tells me that this is a game I enjoyed. 7.95.
7.95. And where does that put that in the leaderboard?
Let's have a look. 7.95 comes in above Sea of Stars.
Two games that are very close
and
in
below Deathloop
rating.
Yeah, but these are really different games as
they
well.
Are very different
One's
games.
a shooter, gory mech thing, and the other's straight up puzzle.
Yeah, it's not very gory, but yeah, straight up puzzle. Agree with that. Yeah,
there you go. And yes, the play on words was Blueprints. Blueprints. That's how you make houses. Do you know why it's called Blueprints?
Because the map is a blueprints.
It's because
layout?
Way back when they were making these types of things on paper, blue paper would hold ink better.
Oh, okay.
So when it transferred between sites and got dirt on it and everything, the blue paper was able to hold ink.
Yeah, fair.
So therefore Blueprints.
There you
and
go.
Blueprints of this game.
I mean, yeah. All right.
Do you want my question from a hat? I'm dying to get to this.
Well, I was gonna say we've just reviewed two games in the time it usually takes us to review one. I think we've knocked them out of the park. Before you get to your question in a hat, as most of our listeners know, I've been sort of updating everybody on my cinematic journey with my partner. The latest series that I've started to show her is the Bourne series.
Jason Bourne.
That
Oh my
movie,
God.
I know they
That's
did.
Jason Bourne.
They did 3, and then they did the one with Jeremy Renner, and then they brought back Matt Damon for the 4th one. The Jeremy Renner one was a
You're
bit
gonna
like
hate
meh.
me.
What?
I've only seen one of them.
What the fuck, Taylor? Shit. Anyway, so I've started showing it to her, and really good. Like it's you know what I love is like when you put it on and they're on their phone, and there's a certain part where your partner, then the phone goes away, and they're like, is he about to kill that guy? And you're like, yes, I've got her. Like, she's hooked in.
You
like,
have been watching.
You know, here we go. And then there's some moments in that where he's like, you've got to watch it because I love it. There's a part where like he's on the phone to like the CIA director or whatever, and the guy, he's like, where are you right now? And the CIA director is like, I'm sitting at my desk. And he's in his office, and he's like, if you were here, we'd be having this conversation face to face.
That's
Click.
hilarious.
And it's like such a boss line drop. It's one of the best in like movie cinema history, I reckon.
Big Matt Damon fan as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's really good.
Like, I sometimes go out of my way to watch movies with particular actors, but he's one that I don't really do that. But when he pops up in a movie, great performance, really great actor, plays the part so well.
Yeah. I feel like
enjoyment.
There was a period there where he was borderline must watch for a lot of movies, but then I think his Twilight now, you know, he sort of, when he did
beyond it.
He did the Chinese Wall film that was like, what the hell is this? And then he did Shrinking or something. There's like, he's kind of gone off Broadway a little bit for me.
Yeah,
but,
definitely. 100%.
Okay, hit me with the question from a hat.
I just nosed my microphone. I have to edit that out. Question from a hat.
Here
We haven't
go.
done one of these in 30 episodes.
It's been a while. I feel like some of the listeners would be like, what the fuck is questions from a hat?
Question from a hat is when we come up with questions throughout the week. We used to draw them out of a hat because we used to have like 10 at a time.
That's
now
true.
they come in and out of our brains intermittently.
As a segment.
Here we go. Do you have a gaming quirk?
A gaming quirk.
Now, this could be anything. It could be like a little OCD thing that you do with your finger when you're in an intense battle. It could be like when you yell something at the TV, or it could be anything. Like even the way you play a game. Do you have anyone? I got one, which is why it's obviously my question.
I mean,
now, if you
there's-
want to think about yours, I can go first.
I mean, I'm just going off the top of my head, but like, I mean, there's obviously the universal one where you're playing a game, you sat back on the couch, then you come up with a boss fight and you have to lock in, so you lean forward.
Yeah, I'd say that's a gaming
for
quirk.
whatever fucking reason that makes you play better.
I don't think it does. I think elbows with weighted elbows forward on knees, I don't think actually adds to a lot of dexterity.
I don't think it's where the placement of your arms are. I think it's getting nearer to the screen.
It's almost like stepping into the zone, like what Tiger Woods says. Like imagine the box and step into the box, and in the box you can do no wrong.
I think that's a universal one that most people would do.
Straight up sporting psychology.
I mean, beyond that, you know, obviously when you beat a boss in a final sort of run of a game, you're absolutely fist pumping and like, you know, hooping and hollering. But I think for me, it's more, I rank the next game I want to play in advance by quite a while. Like I already know what maybe the next 4 games I'm going to play is. So it's not much of a gaming quirk, but I don't know if many people play in such a staggered, systematic approach of going, I'm going to play this one, and then as soon as I finish this one, it's this
That's
one.
100% a gaming quirk. That's
one.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, that'd be mine. I almost line them up on my, like, because if I buy it physically, then I'll line them up in order underneath my TV. So when I'm playing it, they're almost eyeballing me, going like, I'm next, come on, and
Sub
you're
me
like,
in.
hurry the fuck up
Put
on
me
that
in,
shit
coach.
game that you're playing just for the pod. What's yours?
Get rid of blueprints. Get me in there. Mine's kind of funny, and I only realized this the other day when I'm and I probably have a lot more gaming quirks outside of this, but and this is my funniest one, and I found myself doing it yesterday. At first, I just thought this is a one-off thing.
Headbutt the monitor when you lose.
That's it. Yeah, I've had a lot of monitors. No, when I shoot like a really powerful gun in a first-person shooter, like say like a charged-up Sentinel in Apex Legends, or like the BFG in Doom, I clench my asshole.
Taylor, we've been talking about moving from the evening gay bar, and you've been giving me a hard time about swearing, and you're talking about...
It's just a little muscle clench. It's so weird. I can't stop doing it, bro.
And like, what's weirder is that you've recognized you do it. Like, maybe that's something everybody does. Like, ooh, like,
next time you shoot the Senti or something,
I don't know if my,
Just
it's
see
my
if you can
asshole
become a
clenches though. That's so specific. Like if anything, maybe like one of my muscles, like I'll tighten up, like, you know, the sort of the impact of it of like, I don't know, but that's
So funny. I wonder how often your asshole clenches just throughout the day without you even knowing.
at least you've got M laughing, so you know I'm not hanging you out to dry here. Well, why don't you put in a fucking butt plug and then see how you go?
Oh, no. Just play games with my asshole. It's connected to the.
Do you remember we went out for dinner and I think was it your birthday or Carl? It was one of our friends' birthday dinners. Now we were just chatting shit, but we were chatting at the dinner table and it was a really fancy restaurant around chess players and how they were. There was like a whole thing in the chess community that some player had put a butt plug up and via Morse code it was giving him the move sets as they were watching it playing. And we were having that conversation. I'm pretty sure the guy behind us who was sat with the family was like laughing at our conversation.
Look, I wouldn't go that far.
Which is a better reaction than somebody turning around being like, have some decorum.
Yeah.
This is a fancy restaurant and you're talking about butt plugs, guys.
Just to remind you, you mentioned butt plugs. I just said that I'm clenching, which used to be my gamer tag. Because I realized this like a couple of seasons of Apex ago. They're like, oh, I do that when I play with the Sentinel. So I changed my gamer tag to I'm clenching. It is no longer I'm clenching. But yeah, that's my gaming
your gaming quirk became your gaming identity for a period of time.
It did. I mean, you got to lean into it, right? That's what it's all about. That's what gaming is.
Is it?
Wet flaps. That's been my gamer tag at one point. Wet flaps.
What is with your gamer tags?
They've got to be funny.
I mean, mine's been mine for the day dot pretty much. I don't think I've changed mine in forever, if ever. Yeah.
No, but yours fits. That was a good episode.
Yeah, anyway, well, that's
2 reviews.
There you
clenching.
go. 2 reviews.
It's all in there.
Knock it out of the park. And then, 2 weeks' time, we'll have some new games for you. You know, we'll line up some gems for you.
That's it. Watch this space. But... Well, actually, while you're there, if you haven't already, give us a little review.
Yeah,
Email in if you disagree with these or agree.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As podcasters, do you even need to say anymore? Leave us a review and give us a rating. Like, I don't even, like now it's like par the course. If you fucking had a laugh, review it.
That's it. 100%.
I said
Leave
that
a
just
comment.
to get one more F-bomb.
Follow us on Instagram, at the Evening Gamer Podcast, or on YouTube, same handle. Website's coming soon. But most importantly, keep leveling up. Don't be an NPC. Thanks, everyone.